Ugh. Brother, ugh. What's that? What's that, brother?
So I watched Ninja Kamui. I thought it was fun. It's got a lot of action. Ninjas, blades, blood and guts. Animation is super crisp. What's not to love? And this is to be expected because the director, Sung-Hoo Park, has done all of the action for Jujutsu Kaisen and everything that you see on this list right here. So I expected high-octane action. Did I get that? I most definitely did. What I didn't get, however, is much of a compelling story, in my opinion. Now, this has all the right to change over the next handful of episodes, but for the first episode being so crucial to hook as many viewers as possible, it doesn't really do much on the story front. That doesn't mean it doesn't have a story or that it's instantly bad, but the way it's going about it is a little bit different. So we are going to talk about it. Let us begin. You would never guess that Ninja Kamui's story is about ninjas. Surprising. And basically, what I gathered from the first episode only is that this man either used to be an ex-ninja, used to be a part of a much bigger thing, got out of that game, had a nice little family, beautiful wife, a child, and is very much happily living off into the outskirts of whatever region they're within, doing whatever they want. They are very well hidden, by the way. They're off the grid entirely, and even their facial features have been changed. I'll explain that in a little bit. Unfortunately, this isn't enough to hide from the Nintendo ninjas. They are here to obliterate him, and right at the beginning of the episode, we've seen what they're capable of. They hunt down this one innocent business dude that's just going about his day, and he gets jumped in the middle of the street by like 12 different people. Now, he puts up a pretty good fight, and that's where you get to see this beautiful, crisp animation come out to play by Sung-Hoo Park and all the talent involved. They've done a phenomenal job. The vision, the direction, it's got a bunch of identity behind it. Beautiful, lovely, you'll absolutely enjoy it. So I'm worried for this family, and I'm worried for this dude because he seems genuinely happy. I just don't know his name yet. Well, his happiness doesn't really last all too long. Those same ninjas we've seen pull up and they make quick work of his family. You get great action sequences in here as well, tight corridors, rooms, etc. But unfortunately, all of this fighting and all of his monstrosity of an aura does not do enough, and his family is brutally killed in front of him. So we thought he as well. He technically dies, but he comes back. When he awakes, he is a very different individual, one driven by rage and revenge, which pretty standard if the loving family that got you out of that game is about to thrust you back into it. And so he does. Turns out his face and his attributes aren't actually his. He's putting on some like digital hologram type mask to hide him from all of this, yet they still found him, which is kind of impressive. He ain't messing around no more. Those same ninjas rock up at the hospital to finish the job, and he is not playing around. Driven by that anger, that hatred that he has, annihilates all of them, everyone standing in front of him, you guessed it. Even goes toe to toe with this boss looking fella, which is kind of funny. Now that is basically all you need to know. So let's talk about the real meat and the potatoes. When I was watching this, I sat there kind of just drooling in my seat because the animation is very lovely, and that's what it has to offer consistently throughout the whole episode. There's a lot of similarities between some sequences, but there's enough variety for it to be very engaging, and you're not going to see things overlap one to one. Perfectly fine. I think more so it's just the identity of that director, Sung-Hoo Park, really coming through with how he envisions a lot of these fights. Everything's just fluid and smooth and engaging, and everything hits hard. Like, you're seeing people get thrown around corners. The sound design adds a nice element to it as well. Just weighty in every sense, but also smooth and silky when it comes to wielding a sword. Even from what I remember, it has pretty traditional sounding swords. It's just something about the way the character moves within this space and how it's visualized seems very floaty and like energized. At one point you see him kind of stop in midair and then propel forward at such a rapid pace that characters can't even keep up with. So all fodder, obliterated. If you don't have a name or a face, you're basically gone within seconds. But he does come up against someone that matches him, pretty much the big general or leader of this little ninja group, and they have a really good fight, a good back and forth. It's definitely the most compelling part of the episode for me. I enjoyed it, thought it was very fun. Do not know this fella's name still, but I'm hooked. What interests me was the fact that there's no real narrative hooks. There's no writing element within the first episode that's going to hook you instantly. They actually do a lot of squishing. Basically, they'll take very emotional moments and squish it right before the most impactful thing to happen. It's very artificial in its its design. You'll find a lot of authors tend to draw this out a little bit more naturally so you don't notice the artificial nature of it. It's trying to control your emotions. It's trying to make you feel for these characters, which is very standard, but the more you notice how artificial it is, the more you kind of lose that connection. You want things to feel as natural as possible, even though the writer is being very specific and articulate with how they approach character and emotional interaction. A really simple and easy example I can give you is this character here. He's about to get killed. Simple as that, and it's done. But then what Ninja Kamui does in this instance is this character is about to get killed, but hold on, this is all the reasons why you should care. Look at his loving family, look at his child, look how much they're so connected and bonded with each other. It's very over the top and very inflated, but you're going to care about it now. Maybe there's something really sad and tragic about the main character's backstory, about how he struggled for so long. We're going to squeeze all of this right in here just before a horrific event happens. Now, I am perfectly okay with this, and a lot of you will be too. It's not a war crime. It's not the most horrible thing to ever exist. It's actually something you can kind of laugh at because it is handled in a pretty funny way. This is only one moment within the very first episode. It is enough to get you hooked. It's enough to understand what this show is really about, and it's enough to lay the foundation of a simple revenge story. And revenge doesn't really need much explanation. It's as straightforward as it gets. Something bad happens, this character is affected, thus they're going to do everything in their power to get the revenge they seek. Simple as that, right? So we now have the groundwork for Ninja Kamui, basically how they tend to handle things. Does that mean that they will completely disregard the story from here on out? Not at all. We don't know that. Episode 2, which will probably be out by the time this releases, might actually enhance that experience more, and it most likely will, giving bits and pieces of the main character's story, where he comes from, what he's been a part of, why these ninjas are here to kill him now, after he's had a family and lived in isolation for so many years. Is it going to be the main focus though? Definitely not, and that's perfectly okay too. What I am curious about is how much damn action can be put in here. Every single episode, this is a, 10 to 12 episode season potentially, about 20 minutes long, and you're gonna put long segments of action within here every single week? That seems pretty insane to me. I respect it, because it's not easy. It's going to be a grind, it's going to be a hefty workload for all of these talented individuals on board, but maybe that's why they have, I believe, 2 to 3 different studios working on this. It doesn't seem like traditional anime in the sense of one Japanese animation studio. I believe there is a Western studio working on it as well, and then another supporting studio, so it's like a group project, and the director is the one steering the ship. And because his love for action, the sequences that he can build, the identity that he has for it, it comes across really nicely. I'm just hoping that the consistency is able to keep up all the way through, because it's not going to have anything to really fall back on when it comes to a compelling story. The slow moments, the beats between the action, if it's not entertaining enough, you're kind of just waiting for that next action dump to happen. Revenge can only be so entertaining unless you put the effort into expand it outwards in a lot of other directions. You want to build that character, you want to build that relationship, you want to add new people, you want to add a dynamic or a theme that isn't normally seen within there. So there's a lot of playful ways to go about expanding the revenge genre and the structure of the story itself, so it fills out a lot of that blank period of no action with entertainment and value for people to care about. The first episode doesn't really give you much entertainment, but it does give you value with the no action. It's important and handled in a funny way, but still valuable. At least that's how I see it. I think a lot of you will enjoy it. If you're looking for something with a hearty story, probably not. But if you're just in it for the action, maybe Sung-Hoo Park himself, a specific style of that action, you'll love it. Is it going to win any awards? Probably not. It's not really trying to, but it's entertainment at the end of the day. And I'm sure they have a lot of big, massive fights up their sleeve when they push forward the different range of arsenal that this main character has. It's not always just going to be hand-to-hand combat. And let's be real, thematically, revenge goes really hard. Like, if you put a lot of emphasis on that hatred, on that anger, on that revenge, and when you show it in a way that's just disgusting and horrifying, a literal demon getting his lick back, you can't help but just vibe with it. You can't help but cheer for the main character, sitting there clapping your hands, waiting for all of this bloodshed to be spilt. As of right now, my only wish for this show is introducing someone that rivals the main character consistently throughout the whole season. So when you get to the end, it's like this big finale that you've been waiting for since the beginning. I find it to be a great way to balance a revenge tale, having someone of consistent value and equal of strength to the main character build up alongside him, alongside that hatred, but also be his final wall and opponent to really push him past his limits. Give it a watch though, you'll probably enjoy it. Welcome to the end of the video. If you've made it this far, thank you. I appreciate it. Leave a like and subscribe, that'd be nice. Also, check out some of these videos here. The more you watch, the more YouTube recommends me. I like that, YouTube likes that, and you'll probably enjoy the video, so why not? Let me know your thoughts on Ninja Kamui, I'd love to hear them, and I will see you all later.